Well, hi everyone. This is going to be our updated artist acquisition guide. I'm going to be here with our awesome, amazing author. Her name is Daisha, and just let me tell you now that she is one of the best at talking about the subject. Because Daisha, when she first started work with us, she was just an author. She had no artist. She had absolutely, but she had a lot of work and she had a lot of drive and momentum. And because of that, she was able to figure out how to start getting in contact with these artists. And at one point, I believe she had a total of two different animators and two different artists working with her on her series. I think she just started a third series with us. So when I say she's a beast at finding artists to work with her on projects, I mean, she is a total beast. And so she's going to be sharing with us her secrets and what she does whenever she goes to find amazing, talented artists. Um, and so I hope this actually helps you guys so that you guys aren't spending, thousands of dollars trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to hire this artist and end up spending thousands of dollars per project. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Hey, Daisha, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So I just hyped you up to like everybody, so you can't let me down. You have to show me like some secret sauce. Like I gotta like wish upon like a genie lamp or something. This has to like be magical. So let's go ahead and get into this. I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking and shut up, so you can actually take control and talk to people about how you start the process to finding artists, to getting to the point where they actually sign a contract with you and start working with you absolutely 100% for free. And that's right, you heard me, for free. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop and let Aisha go ahead and get us started here.
So this originally, well, I actually made it on like a Google Doc so it can be easier, but I also want to show that after. So originally, I realized for my third series, this is going to have to be different, especially because before I was looking for a new animator, for like an extra animator just in case for like my other series, Mr. Tekio Bay, not Mr. Tekio Bay, Moonlight Rising. So I was like, we need another animator just
She
for that
has
series.
a lot of different series, so she kind of loses
Yeah.
track of them. So it's okay.
But so what I decided to do was like, okay, let me look for like practice already look for an animator for that one too. And so I have to show it's not always easy. It's not always easy. So let's see. So as you can see, it's still not closed as of October 8th because it did not go well. But I realized because of this, I need to change up my process. Because of course I always went to the same way before, but I realized times are different. It's not the summer anymore. Not everybody's gonna want to be working right now as in mangas or even just being a free animator or just being paid for like commission from it. But basically, I was like, I have to try something different. So how can I be different this time? I need more proof. That's one
Wait,
thing I
so
do.
real quick, before you said that you tried this and this didn't work. What exactly did you try and how successful was it and why did you say it didn't work?
So this time, I decided to go back to the same process as before because I was so used to getting like authors. Even before this is how I got my two animators, which was like saying, "Hey, I mentioned earlier this year that I was doing writing like a manga and it's doing really well, and I need another one for my other series, and I really want y'all to work with me. Here's proof of where I go to. Here's another animation from one of the animators they did for my other manga, and here's some more proof that my manga's number one. So hey, doesn't this look cool? It's like, do you want to work with me or not? And as you see, basically, oh yeah, technically it's close. But basically all I got left with was questions and people saying, animation takes a lot of time. Are you sure people want to work with you? This is not even this is just one example of where I put it at, where people were questioning me, but it wasn't bad. It's just on other sites it was worse. So you can already understand why I realized I need to change the process a little bit. So
So,
I was like,
so essentially what you tried doing is that you were like, hey, I'm coming back saying who wants to work with me on animation. Let me go ahead and post my social media links of what I'm trying to do. Let me go ahead and post some examples of where my animation, what's going on and who's already worked with me. And you said that didn't work?
surprisingly, it didn't. So I was like, if anything, I got more questions from people. Like, are you sure? Like, they're asking questions like, hey, I know that you had animators before, but what if they just leave? Or what if people don't like the animation style because it didn't look like the manga, or vice versa? And that's like, well, it doesn't really matter if it looks different, because of course I want to work with different artists because their styles are different. I don't want them all to be the same. I want people to see variations of the same manga. It like so the thing is,
Well, I just want to ask a question. So you're saying that because you've been working with us for a while, so you're saying that even though you've had successful pieces published before, and you've had, you became a bestseller in, fantasy graphic novel, fantasy manga or fantasy graphic novels on Amazon. So even with all that, you didn't get an artist. So you're saying that it doesn't, so necessarily what you did doesn't necessarily matter. You don't really have like all that experience, or you don't need to have necessarily a whole bunch of, I guess, things to show people specifically to prove something to them for them to work with you. Is that what you're saying? Or am I getting it wrong? So you said even with all the proof of, showing people how well you succeeded before, even when you tried the method you tried before, your new method, it failed. So it means that you don't necessarily, to try this new method, you don't have to have necessarily all this proof of, oh, this is how much I've succeeded. This is, oh, look how popular this series is. So you can be literally starting off trying to find an artist and be successful if you know the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and continue. I just wanted to go ahead and make that point because that really stuck out to me.
So I decided to change my process. I was like, I really want to work on this new series because I have an idea. And if I don't write it, I feel like it's just going to sit there. So I decided to first, after like talking with you, I was like, okay, good. So now we have this new series set and like planned. So it's already acknowledged. So since I was going off like hyper energy, I was really happy. As you can see, it's closed now. And it says I met an awesome artist. So that was so they can close it without anybody looking for collabs anymore. So what I decided to do is change out the process. So I started moving certain things and expressing more of myself so they can feel more comfortable with me. Because before, you see right here, it's kind of more straightforward. They don't really care. If you want someone to connect with you and to work with you because of like not automatically for money, but because you want to connect with them and they want to work with you, like actually want to do it, you have to put more of your heart into it and more of yourself and not seem like a robot. So I decided to do that because like I know some people like things straightforward, and I was like, not everything always has to be like straightforward because not everybody's going to listen. They want to connect with you. They want to feel safe and feel better about working with you and not feeling like they just made a business deal and they don't know how it's going to go. So basically,
you're saying that in order for you to find an artist that would work with you to create content, even like let's say you have no money, in order to find an artist that would work with you to create a content, you have to get them to invest in you rather than in money. You have to get to form a connection with them and not seem like a robot when you're going messaging them specifically. You have to invest in you and get to know you and be comfortable with you as an author.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and continue. I just wanted to double check on that.
So I decided to change my process and put it in like more paragraph. Like I still have more paragraphs. I didn't change that part, but I changed where things were and also changed each paragraph of what they represented. The first paragraph, let me just like say right here, I decided to name, because I was already experienced, so I didn't want to sound like I have a version as well that I'll explain after, with people who are newer to this versus people who are like used to this going on these forums and things. So because I was already experienced, I decided to do a different version for this one, which is the first version, which is, I was like, hey, I'm a writer, not looking for an artist to work on. Because for this series, Wildflower Blooming, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it a manga or webtoon. I was fine with either or. So I was like, manga/webtoon, I'm fine. Y'all can work with me. It's like, hey, these are my other mangas, and I have another manga that will come out sometime next year as well. And I hope that y'all like pay attention, like look at that too, if you want to. Since I mentioned that they already have in mind 3 mangas basically, or webtoons that she may be working on, or is still working on right now, technically in the process of. So there already someone interested. So then I also put the second paragraph, some extra proof, but in a different way, which is like, I have an underneath a publisher called Horizon Publishing, and they signed me. And I also explained how I felt about Horizon Publishing, which is like, I've been underneath them for like since April, and they're really cool. They don't, if you don't want to work underneath, if you don't want to sign though, you don't have to. It's fine. I don't mind. I'm not going to force you to sign if you don't want to sign. So they feel more comfortable. They don't feel like if they work with you, they're forced to do something they might not want to do. Like, you always have to make sure that they feel free at mind and not like they're signing any contract and they're not sure if they want to at the time. Because maybe after a while of the working with you, they want to sign. That's another thing that you have to explain to them as well. More of your how you feel. So then now I put the proof with the links of my manga, The Mystery of Tokyo Bay. I also put Horizon's TikTok and their Instagram and things. And as we see, the funny part is there's more clicks on the social media on this one because they're already interested early on versus this one. Even though it's more links here, it's not as clicked on. Of course, certain ones have more clicks than the other ones, but they are not paying attention. So that's something I realized as well. They're already interested in the first half. So then I explained the profit in the next one, how much they'll be getting, and explaining why as well, so they can understand that, hey, maybe it's like, if you tell them without how much they're getting, why they're getting that percentage, then they'll be really confused. And they really will, all of a sudden, like, all the stuff that you said before just disappears out the window. And you also explained their experience from my publisher. I did that for them. I was like, yeah, I had experience. They've been publishing mangas, novels, webtoons, you name it. So they're still more interested. They're still interested. After that, I explained the big parts, which is the manga / webtoon itself, and also the genre. Because I know some people, I was talking to some artists, and they're nervous if they hear action because they're thinking, oh, I might have to draw some fighting scenes. So not every artist can be like that. So you have to make sure, though, that you put it a little higher above, but not too high. So they can still, oh, they're already interested. And some people, by the time they get to that, they're like, oh, but it sounds really interesting. Maybe I should try action out for itself. So it always varies for the artist as well. So for this one, Wildflower Bloomings, a drama and romance, I also made an interesting blurb. And I want it to be interesting so they can understand and be left with questions. So the blurb wasn't like, it's like you have to get them to feel as if they want to really read the manga or webtoon itself. And that's also how you get them to read it. So that's already interesting enough for them. And they're like, oh, I like this. I want to work with this person. Because like some blurbs are like just plain straightforward. You can't, in the blurb, you can't tell too much and you can't tell too little, because then they're going to be left with, you want them to be left with questions, but not too much questions. Because then they're just like, I don't think this is going to go well. Basically, from what my experience is for talking to some people, that's how they feel. So then I also left them free to ask questions and also to talk to me about anything. Also, I realized in the last part, because they're already interested, most likely, you also explain certain things. Like for this manga, I want the artist to be able to draw Black features because the main character is a Black woman. So I made sure to put that on there. And I also, for this one, I also had pictures that I made with my Sims, because I'm not good at digital art. So I showed them how I want her to look like. So they also have that information.
So we got to take a look at your Sims later on in this, so we can see like where the transformation happened. Because we can even take a look at some of your earlier Sims from some of the old, with the other mangas that you've worked on and you published, where you literally have, without, you showed them the Sim, and then you see the full on published manga and developed manga and how that kind of transformed. So we got to take a look at that, because I think that's just magical. But go ahead and continue.
So I explained to them that, hey, I use my Sims. So if you see Sims, this is why, because I'm not good at digital art. That's why I'm looking for an artist on here, so y'all can understand how the characters look like, how I want them to look like, some important things. Also, I was like, another way to contact them, you want them to contact you. So you put your email that you want them to contact you with, just in case, because like not everybody's going to always feel like messaging or leaving comments. Some people just want to be more private, so they don't mind emailing you, which I had some experience with talking to people about. And I've in multiple ways. So some people message me, some people left comments, and some people would just email me. It's easier for them. So they're like, okay. And also I know on certain websites, you can't put your email So also just make sure that they're at least able to like let them feel like they can message you at least. Like make sure you also pay attention to your messages because sometimes these websites don't always tell you in your email or notifications that you have a message. So you have to find out yourself. So I also said, hey, if you want to talk to me and about some other things that you don't want to message me or something about, my publisher and I, we can talk to you on Google Meets or via Zoom. So they can feel also like, hey, I want to see if these are real people or something like that. Also add the last part. So on this website, I had to put the proof on the bottom. So I put the proof that the Mystery Tokyo Bay actually was #1. I really wished at the point in time that I'd taken a picture for all those 5 days, but it still worked. Basically saying that Mystery Tokyo Bay was #1 bestseller for 5 days, at least some proof because it's just one picture, but somewhat proof. And even though, don't get me started, some people are not going to believe it, but it's fine. As long as you have proof, there's someone who actually will believe it. So these are like, but also in this experience, this is more like for the people who've already done this before, but they want to look for another artist or something, because I have another version for that after. Here is also the Sims that I use because I'm not good at illustrating. Yeah, we still the artist for that one still working on like the character profiles and things. So that's how it is for that one. Speaking of which, for this series, Wildflower Blooming, I will show the pictures for that one after, as soon as I finish explaining. For if you're actually newer. So if you're newer, I will show this one. So it's more like let's see.
So the one you showed before was if you're experienced, if you published before, if you have experience with like writing and stuff like that, and you've already published them before, how that kind of went, to kind of show a little bit about yourself. So before you even got into, so first, let me see if I got this right. So you did an introduction to yourself, and so you got to get people to be comfortable with you, right? Before you even talked about your story, before you talked about, the percentages, before you even talked about anything, you did an introduction into yourself to get them to be comfortable with you. And then you go ahead and explain everything of what's going on within a subsection. So people who are already interested in you will find out more information about what the project entails, right? And then after that, you go ahead and then give an enticing book blurb or story blurb about what it is that you are what it is the story is, to see if you can get them to hook onto it and want to actually read the story. So the aim of the game is to get people to want to actually actively read your story under that section. And then finally, the next section is a contact us basic, being like, okay, hey, if you want more information, you can reach out to me via email. If you want to sit down in person and talk to me, then you can go ahead and reach out to me in person. Now, I want to ask you a question. How did the in-person, do you think that actually made a difference when you were looking for artists, being able to say, hey, not only do I have a publisher, but I'm willing to sit down with you, and since someone from our publishing companies is willing to sit down with you as well and talk to you about this project? Do you think that actually made a difference when it came down to actually securing an artist?
Yes. So some people are not going to automatically believe you. So especially when even though you have all this information, all these pictures and stuff, they have to see a real person, because there's, like, again, we're on the internet, so there's a lot of scams. Don't get me started. So they want to see a real life person who's talking to you and showing you the same information you may have seen before, but to your face again. So sometimes you have to repeat yourself, which is good because that means they were listening. So they really want to know if you're going to change your story or change anything up, so they can also keep in mind that, hey, you're real. You're a real person. So it helped a lot, I realized.
So going from that, so like literally at every single section of this, you're really just building rapport with the artist. You're getting them to invest in you, getting them to know you. The first thing you do is to introduce yourself, and then you're getting them to invest in your story. After understanding what the project is, you give them the full information so that they're able to make an informed decision, so that they don't feel like, okay, later on down the line, you're hiding something from them or whatever. You're giving them the full exact detail of what's going on. Then you're getting them hooked on the story. And finally, you're leaving them a way to reach out to you, saying, hey, you can contact me via these different avenues. I know we're going to go into this later about which specific sites that you recommend people looking at, right? And I'm probably like, if people who are watching this, we're probably going to have like two different scripts, one for if you're already an artist, and another one already an author, established author, and one for if you're a new author and you're just trying to find an artist. We're going to have these scripts available for you, and the links will probably be about down below, so you'll probably be able to get those and utilize them and structure them whichever way you see fit. We'll have an example that you should right next to it to see what it is that actually works, because these are things that she's actively done to be able to secure herself partnerships with artists at no cost to her. These artists that are actively invested within the series, and artists that I love talking to all the time. Whenever you meet. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. You said this specifically is for newer artists. Is that correct?
Yes. So if you're newer, like I rewrote how I did mine, because like I realized with this same way we can basically talk to the artist or animator or whoever you're looking for. You could basically do it the same way, similarly, but not at the same time, because you don't have as much proof. So you really want to still make them feel comfortable at the same time. So right here, it's not as long because like I kind of changed some things up, but you can always add what you want as well after. So in a newer version, I was like, hey, I'm a writer looking to work on a manga or webtoon, and you put the name. So at the same time, after that, you still continue to introduce yourself, because they don't know you. They don't know any information about you, but they still want to get to know you. So if you introduce yourself, like be yourself in a way, as not like try to put up a front, because at the same time, people will read into that as well. Especially if it's in wording, they will read into it more. Also, for me, because I'm still technically, even when I was a beginner, I was still in had a publisher. So I also wrote like still at the same time, my publisher and their experiences and things. Also, I added after the social medias, so they can feel comfortable. Like, hey, also I put my social media as well. Like just like the first one, I put my social media and their social media, and I realized it did make a difference, because when I didn't, like before as a beginner, when I didn't put my social media, they just thought, oh, I don't see anything that's hers. I only see things about her publisher. Is she real or not? Basically, that's something I really noticed. So after that, I was like, okay. Like I also made sure like my profile on the sites I was using was a similar profile picture for one of mine, whether it's my profile picture in my social media or at least in one of my pictures that I posted on my social media. So they know, hey, she's real. She's real. If you want to talk to her also on social media, stuff like that, they do message you, and they also will follow. Some people will follow, just to get to make sure that you're real, and they will try to talk to you to see if you are really a person or just someone faking or trying to scam people. So after that, I was like, here is the percentages that we're offering if you want to work with us as well. So people, at the same time, I still kept it the same way, like explain my publishers, like the way they promote, and basically also their experiences, so they can feel comfortable still. Just saying without any of this, it's not going to do as good. You're not going to get really as much people as you would like to be interested. So then another thing, also the insert genre here, the genre that you want to work with. Also, the same process goes for the blurb. You still want it to be interesting. Leave the artist or anybody just wanting to work with questions, but not too many questions, because then they're just sitting there like they don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to make it seem mysterious, but it's not doing anything. And then also leave a message, or just right here, this is like, for example, leave a message if you're interested, and also don't feel uncomfortable asking questions. Since you're newer, so you can't say you've been on some of these sites before if you're newer, because like of course you weren't. So you also say how trusting you are to come here, because you trust that these people would actually want to work with you, they actually feel comfortable with you. You have to explain that as well, because if they're just sitting there, it's like, why'd they come here if they just seem like they're just promoting something and leaving or something like that? Don't get me started. Some people would believe that. So you have to explain that you trust these people. You actually have to trust them, and they feel comfortable to trust you somewhat. Whether it's like not fully, sometimes it's just the fact that you explain that you trust them and you're willing to work with them and let them feel comfortable. Also, another way to contact them with email, also, and also via video, Zoom or Google meetings. Even if you have a publisher or not, still just do that. I recommend doing the Zoom or Google meetings. You don't always have to show your face, but as long as you talk to them, they feel comfortable. They feel like, oh, you're human. It's like just human interaction is a really good thing, especially with like statistics is things. Explaining that human interaction is a really important thing for us humans. Like without interaction or anything, it actually kind of closes us down a lot. So that's why I recommend it a lot. Like as nervous as you may be, when I first started, I was nervous as well for video chatting and like Zooms and things, but it's a really important thing that helps people.
But you picked it up pretty fast. I would say that you end up like running with it on your own. That's like the first one. You were just like, oh, I got like 50 more lined up. It's okay. No, but that's good. I like how you said it because the video calls are really like the most one of the most important parts because you've introduced yourself to them, right? You've told them about what it is that you're trying to do, about the offer specifically, about your book blurb. They're interested in the story. They're interested in you. They've talked to you for a little bit on social media, probably reached out to you via email. The video call is really where the rubber meets the road with a lot of these things, right? If they're interested, okay, so here's how, okay, so Daisha can tell you this, 9 times out of 10, when we get on a call with an artist, we sign them, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. And the reason why is because at this point, you've already done all the hard work. You've already built up the rapport with them. You've already interacted with them via social media. You've done all this stuff that's needed. And at this point, if they're still sticking with you through this process, most likely they're super interested in the project. The only doubt they have in their mind is, man, is this a scam? Is this a scam? Is this real? Are you a real person, right? Because the last thing that people want to do is put in time and effort into a project only to get cheated out at the end. And so the video call is really where the rubber meets the road in this entire scenario. And it's what really makes or breaks whether or not you're gonna be able to sign an artist, right? So before we get into the video call and what the secrets are for that video call, let's go ahead and figure out what sites do you recommend that people utilize and where do you recommend people specifically go to start contacting these people?
I got you. So for my way to start contacting these people, it's a really like these sites, I'm going to like not put them on a rating system, but there's certain sites that I recommend more than others. I'm just going to say that because it's also like saying as from a writer's point of view, and like the success rates for certain websites, what I had with them versus certain ones where I got left with disrespect from people. They'll get me started.
You have a rating tier system. This is the top. This is what you should avoid at all costs. It's perfect.
Yeah. So let's see, raters.
I can guess what one of the ones that you should avoid with all costs is. I can take a guess. Reddit.
Yeah. Don't get me started on Reddit. I like Reddit when I'm talking about other things besides manga. Don't get me started. Like,
oh man,
it's so disrespectful. And I was like, I like Reddit as long as they're not being disrespected. I don't know why. Let's see. So it's like I'm just getting left with disrespect for no reason. It's like all we want to do was work with each other, and all I get left with was disrespect. Let me figure out which community it was in real quick. Gosh darn it.
Are you sharing your screen? Because I only see like the Google Meet. Or the
new share. There we go.
All right, so where exactly? Oh, you're on Reddit.
Yeah, I was pulling up like certain things, like certain websites that I'm going to recommend and not recommend. Okay. The ones that you see right now are not in the order yet. I'm about to put them in order as soon as I pull up these.
Okay. Okay. Well, in that case, I'll let you go ahead and figure and keep doing that.
I'm trying to figure out what the other two websites were. Comic. I'm trying to figure it out. Let me just pull up my emails. Basically, like I had to sign up for some of these websites. Let's see, Manga. Well, these other two I didn't get really artists anyway, so I'll just explain these four because these are the best ones. well, not about four, but these are the ones that I would like to talk about the most because these are the more common ones. Let's see if I have it on any, what's it called? There we go. Yep, okay. Let's see. There we go, okay. Really thought I pulled it up. Oh shoot. So it's the wrong thing.
Manga. It's a manga.
It was more like an accident. But let's see.
That's a very interesting name. It sounds foreign. Mingatha. I don't know why. I come from Mingatha. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to put them in order from worst to least, or best to least for working with people. Let's see, 2, 3, 4. So with these 4 that I have now, because other ones I don't get artists. Let me see. Actually, I just remember one. Let's see. Let's see. Log in. These just, I made this when I was like in middle school. I am so sorry for the name. It's just.
Oh, don't worry about it. People are not gonna gripe for your name.
Let's see.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Let's see, forums. So we go to, where was it? I'm trying to remember where it was. I know it's in a certain area. It's just I always forget where I put it at. There it is. Okay. So I'm about to put them in order from best places to go versus least places to go with these 5 that I have, right? Oh, 5. Yeah, 5. So first one, tapas, because that's the main place where I meet people. That's one of my most popular places to meet people because I like in a successful way. Like they actually still work with me, these people. Let's see. Or at least they worked with me and I promoted, at least did some content, whether it was like for a long period of time or a short period of time. Tapas, I recommend here because even though some people can kind of be mean, but it's not bad. They still will talk to you. They still will respect you. They'll just ask a lot of questions. It's not bad. As long as you, especially because we offered that that they could ask any question they wanted to. It's fine. Sometimes they won't always, after you answer their question, they will not respond. Because I don't know why. They might not. I don't know. Some people feel embarrassed when you point out certain things. I'm guessing because like one example is I would give an example from DeviantArt that I had. Basically I was talking to someone about proof about my manga being #1. Of course, not everybody's gonna believe that. But I was like, I had went on this website where you can just have it, like not all websites let you share pictures. So I had made it into a link they could click on if you want to look at the picture. And so of course that sometimes sounds sketchy to people. But in the comments after that, because they asked that, they're like, hey, how do you know this is real? I said, well, I had a link underneath there too if you wanted to click on it, but here you go, here's a picture. And I was like, don't be rude when you're answering comments because it's not going to do well for you. You're not always going to answer. It's like, wow. I was like, I understand some people can be rude, but you can't just be rude back. You have to show professionalism. Hence why they don't always answer you. So, well, certain people don't always answer you back. It doesn't always end well. So
you can't, be baited into arguing with people online. It's just not a good way for you to be able to grow or even show, essentially it comes down to hurt you later on versus just being professional with people that you're communicating with online.
Yeah. And like another thing is a lot of these people are not even trying to work with you. They just want to start stuff. Because I realized that I was sitting there, it's like, man, I'm not going to argue with these people. But one thing I noticed is these people are not even like work for like the type of content you want. And that's the thing. Or they don't post their content. So you don't know if they want to do that in the first place. They're just there to be there and like people's arts and stuff. I'm just there, it's like, that's all cool, but you could just like not comment anything. But just it's the internet. People feel free to do stuff, especially if they're not showing their face. Don't get me started. So basically like tapas is a good place to talk and like talk to people, get to know people, to work with people. I've had a lot of success here. And if you want to work here, just go in the collaboration section though. That's the place where you get like artists and stuff. Also, it's a good place to promote as well. Cause like if you want to promote your novels or something, or you just go here as well. As you see, these people, they're actually really kind in like talking to people. And like, especially if you want advice. So it's a good place to go. especially like
Do you mind showing us how to actually get there from like the home screen, like going from like the tap ass home screen and showing us how to get there?
yeah. So for this one, you actually like it took me a long time to get used to it. So you actually have to, instead of putting tapas, you have to put forums.tapas.io because it's not like it's crazy, but it's like it's understandable because like tapas is already just a site for like webtoons and things. So you have to basically just go on the forum version of it. Like they have like basically it's kind of like a own site of its own. So then we see all categories. If you want to do a collaboration, which is like how I meet new artists or like work with new artists. Oh shoot, I did not mean to click on that. But I click on collaboration. As you see, somebody's always looking for an artist to work with. Or artist, well, basically this one's an artist looking for a new writer and they want to work with. So like they're really cool and they're showing besides writers looking for artists, you also see artists looking for writers. So that's another example I say that you pay attention to. As you see this person, their art style, and like they're explaining their life and things too. So another thing that you can find is, let's see, reviews. Okay, so when I'm saying that if you want to promote your content as well, reviews and feedback, because these people also for their comics or their webtoons or things, they want to promote and they want to talk to people and get how other people who are successful or not successful can come here and promote their stuff. That's also how I promote the Mystery Tokyo Bear. That was one of the ways, because like they're really kind and they're really cool people. Some people will also post their own, like on your own forum or anything. Underneath there, they'll post theirs as well. Just be used to it because like it's cool. People are promoting people and you can make connections in the future. Another thing I would also, I think I showed it before, but I'm trying to figure out where I put it now. Yeah, that's it for tapas. So basically, the next one is Manga Raiders. So, or Manga Raiders. Manga Raiders, I'm so sorry. So it's Manga Raiders is another place where, as you can see, where I actually worked at, but this one wasn't as successful. But in the past, I've had successes with this website, and people are just really nice. Like they're really respectful. I would say they're more respectful than tapas. They're more respectful, but they're really nice. Another thing I realized with this site is that you can't share pictures just like kind of like DeviantArt. You can't share pictures. Unless, well, DeviantArt you can share it in the comments. This one, if I'm right, you can't really share pictures in general. I mean, it's understandable. Some people are just weird on the internet. But like I was showing before, you can't really share pictures. But at the same time, they are really kind. They're really cool people. And basically I promoted it the same way. So this is why I said instead of just like certain sites like this, you don't put your email, but you do also just tell them to message you or comment if they have any questions or you want to talk to you, because they, as I said before, they're really cool people. And like to get to there, you go from Manga Raiders, we scroll down, and since if you're looking for artists, you look for artists on where it says underneath the manga artist, you go right here. But if you're looking for like a writer or something, I'm trying to remember where it was, but it's kind of like the same way. So if you're looking for a writer, I would suggest going basically kind of like where it says gosh darn it, I'm sorry. So you go down to here, you click on manga writers. I guess they changed the website out, but it's kind of like the same, just the same process, basically, that's all. And you leave a, what's it called? You click new topic and you write the title and things, and that's how you promote. The next one, I'll say it's DeviantArt. I actually had a lot of success here. It's just lately people have been really disrespectful. I don't know why. So for here, you have to go on the forums section. So deviantart.com/forums. If you want to pay to for an artist or anything, you would click on job offers, and this is as I say, serious use only. But if you want to do it for free, like offer for free, I would say go to projects, because here we go. So that's where people also promote as well, and they talk about their you see a lot of artists looking for basically like swapping arts, wanting to work with other people. So let's see. As we were saying before, as we were saying before, this is how I met artists, and they're really cool. Some are, some people aren't. As you can say, some people are more disrespectful, but they still, in a way, understand that, hey, we're just all trying to work. We're trying to promote some amazing content, and people just want to work with you. They want to message you. You can leave your email on this website, but you cannot show pictures in the you cannot show pictures in the forum itself. You actually have to go to comments and show a picture. You have to upload it to your file and show it there. So that's another thing. And I also say, if you wanted some proof or something like that, I can also message proof. Like, that's what some of these websites that you can't put pictures in, you can also just tell them that, because like, that's another way they can understand that, hey, you don't mind showing proof. So a website I would also recommend, though I haven't had success for this one, I at the same time show that, let's see. Also at the same time recommend that, hey, it's a cool place to meet people. I didn't meet artists here, but I met people who are in the same situation. And it's just a really nice, comforting place to talk to people. Like, they weren't disrespectful or anything. They're just really nice. Like, they were talking and they're also asking questions, because like, even this one person saying they're not artists looking for work, but they also want to, if any artist wants to come here, what do you say if it says unpaid? Which I also want to explain, because I've talked to a few artists who said, why say unpaid if you're offering a certain amount of commission? I was like, so for if they ask questions about that, I'll explain it that I had a lot of debates with people whether to say unpaid or not. That's why I'm saying, most of the time, even if you're offering commission, make sure you say unpaid, because if they're not being paid up front, and you're like saying that, telling people even in the forums that you're not paying them up front, you will get in debates with people, and it's just not worth it. So it's best like to save the time and energy just to say unpaid, because if they want to work with you and they just want to even click on it in the first place, that means they actually are somewhat interested. It doesn't matter if it's paid or not. So that's already something good. That means you get more people who genuinely want to work with you. So yeah, that's what we have for this one. So it's really respectful, my anime list. So to get to my anime list, you just go on, let's see, community, forums. They scroll down all the way to the bottom until you see general, and then you click on creative corner. Then right here, you just create new topic, and that's where we go. Speaking of which, I did not show for DeviantArt how you do that. So after I say click on projects, what you decide to do, scroll all the way down to, from right the bottom, and that's how you make your topic for a new forum thread and stuff like that. Even though it says add media, unless you have a paid account, I guess call it a paid account, is technically called a core account, then you can't automatically add pictures to there. And my last one that I recommend not to go to, but at the same time, if you really need to, I would say Reddit, any community with like comic books or something, or manga, it's another good place to go to. Somewhat, just be prepared that some people will argue with you. I'm just gonna say that they will literally argue with you, but that's why hence why Emmanuel said that it's a place I would recommend not to go. That's also why it's my last rated place. Also, speaking of which, let me pull up another good place. So there's this one lady, she's really amazing with mangas and things. So what I decided to do, let's see, I'm trying to find it. Okay, finding the artist. So for her, she is amazing.
One of the most difficult.
And so what I decided to say is that she also lets her comment section be free. You can also talk to people as well. Like, they're really kind. And they also, people like right here, because she's saying, hey, if you want to promote your writing or anything, so if you want to look for artists here, be free to comment here. And so that's something I did as well. At one point in time, I didn't get, I'm not sure if I ever got email from here, because at the time I was getting a lot of emails from people back and forth. So I really don't know if they got my email from here. But it's like, I'm not sure on here. I don't really people don't message me on here. So I'm saying there's a chance that some people got there, but I would choose this place over Reddit. I would choose that one over Reddit just in case. And that's pretty much it. These are like the websites I also chose that are like that I recommend. And so while I wait for Emmanuel, I'm just going to pull up the character designs that I met with different artists. So let me pull them up now. Let me put one on Instagram with the artist for Moonlight Rising, and one for the Mystery of Tokyo Bay. Let's see. So as you see, I have a whole bunch of folders. So let's see, open that one. Actually, let me just use this folder. So since I said I mainly use Sims to make my characters, for the Mystery of Tokyo Bay is one example. I don't know how to draw digitally, so I decided to use my Sims to create these characters. One example is the main character for the Mystery of Tokyo Bay, this is how her character looked like without the illustrations or anything. This is her Sim version. And so let's go back to my Shira, and then we have her design. As you can tell, they're completely different. Let me just pull this up so I can pull it side by side. Let's see. So we go from here, her character and how she looks like, to basically her illustration, which is this. As you can see, even her poses are somewhat similar in their personality and things. Especially like that's something that no matter what artist you work with and no matter what style, it's still like you can see the artist style. Basically, I don't care how my artists illustrate the characters. Basically, I give them free range. So let's see. Another example of a character is Itsuki. So Itsuki, his character design looks something like this. So, well, his character design for Sims, that's how I made him like. I couldn't figure out anything, so that was the closest thing I could get to. So his illustration was like this. As you can see, he's a somewhat cold-hearted, cold-natured person. And so we're presenting it here as well with his style and things. The artists, they have their own style, and I'm fine with it because I love it. Like, it's still amazing. So Itsuki, character version, Itsuki, Sim version. As you can see, it's a difference. And another example is for Moonlight Rising, which let me pull up now. Let's see. Let me move this out the way. What we see is trying to pull it up without the thing. There we go. Okay, so messages. There we go. So one example This is Hana for Moonlight Rising, and her character illustration. Her sim version is more like, let me pull up right here. Wrong one. Third page. This is definitely her. Okay. So her design was more like, wait for it to load. So her design's more like this, Hana King, and her image when she was drawn was like this. As you can see, she's still the amazing person. She's still pretty, and I love it. It's a different style, just like even with the first with the Mystery of Chucky Bay. The artists, they always have their own style, and it's a good thing to let them have not free range, but like be free to express their arts in a way. And like you can always see the character in amazing style. Another example is Osamu. You pull up here now. Osamu. And the artist for this one loves Osamu. So it's really fun thing to see. So she loves Osamu. And the character design for Osamu was, as you saw, was a sketch with the image with him. And this is how he looks like originally. So that's what I'm saying. Like you always can run into people with many different designs and different styles and everything. And it's always going to be a good thing. It's always a fun thing to see.
No, that's pretty cool. So I'm guessing you've gone through like the different websites and that you recommend and where you recommend them going. Awesome. So let's go into, so now that you know how to go about finding artists on these websites, let's talk about, you know, where the rubber meets the road, which is the actual interview. Going into the interview, what are your, first of all, let's go ahead and ask you, what tips do you recommend giving people going into their first interview with an artist?
Okay, so my tips I recommend is, for me, at first, when I first started, the first meetings, I was always nervous because, of course, it's like, I haven't met these people. I don't even know who these people are, but it's a fun, this is how I got to like being nervous and stuff like that during my first meetings too. Every time I'm in a meeting, loving it. So I recommend just keep an open mind. Like some people are just in college, or some people are just like starting to illustrate on like digital art and things, but their art's amazing. And sometimes it takes them a little longer. Like don't expect them to have your full set of mangas complete, like 10 pages, not 10 pages, 10 chapters of manga complete in the span of a month. Like that takes time, it takes effort. That's what so basically keep an open mind. Don't like, I'm not saying don't be nervous, because you're probably going to be nervous, but also keep yourself calm, keep yourself relaxed. Because if they see you freaking out, they're like, oh shoot, why are they freaking out? Are they like, what's going on? So basically keep a calm mind, keep a calm expression. And another thing I recommend is like actually talking to them, because if you don't talk to them and like you're only like just sitting there, it's not gonna make them feel comfortable. It's gonna make them feel awkward, and make sure like they're going to be working with you. They will not be working with or they will not be working with Emmanuel. They'll be working with you, so they really want to talk to you as well. And I'm like, there'll be times where you can basically express yourself. Also, build a relationship with them as well, like whether it's before or even after the meeting. Make sure you build a relationship with them, because if you just basically keep a blank like relationship, basically it's like, here, this character design chapter 1, chapter 2, and just like seem like you don't care about anything, they're just gonna feel like you don't care about them or the project in general. So if they run into stuff like that, they're just gonna feel really awkward, and they also might not want to work with you. That's something I also recommend doing.
Like go to like the just want to say something, going into the first meeting with the artist, knowing a couple things is very key. First of all, you got to know that you have to be able to give the artist creative freedom. That's one of the things that's going to be super important when it comes to negotiations and things like that. The artist is, if you are super strict on micromanaging every single aspect of this project, you're not going to find an artist that's interested in actively working with you to create something. Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to the work that you and the artist create, it's supposed to be a partnership agreement between you and the fellow artist, right? So if you're interested in micromanaging every single section, every single part, everything has to look like this, must be this way, and like this style, then you're gonna turn off a lot of people very, very quickly. Something else you should go into noting, something that we didn't mention before when it comes to putting down, requirements for the job, a description or whatever, right? You don't want to put in set due dates, deliverables of anything, right? You want that to be a passive agreement between you and the artist. And the reason why is because you want them to feel like they have control over how they work. The more leverage or the more control you give to them, although it seems like you're relinquishing control of some sort, you're actually making it easier for them to make up their minds to actually agree to work with you, which is something that's super important when you going into these meetings. The next thing I would also tell you is that you should not have a set meeting schedule at all. Like, please do not arrive in a suit and tie. I will cringe my eyes out if I ever see any of you guys in a suit and tie. Because we live in the 21st century, and a lot of people don't understand this, but artists, they don't like to feel like they're constrained. And the worst thing you could actually do is to act like you're a two-dimensional business person inside of a meeting, going or showing up to an interview when you're just trying to have a casual conversation with an artist. And it will be such a quick turnoff that I will be shocked if you get like a person to say yes while wearing a suit and tie, to be honest. It's just casual, like t-shirt and like super duper casual. Going into the meeting, what I would recommend is that first you get time to introduce yourself, get to know the artist. Interesting conversation starters. You can ask them about where is it they live, because odds are they're not living in the same exact area as you. And if they are, then you just 1 in a million struck it lucky. And I guess you can even say hi to them if it gets to that point. You guys grow your relationship. You guys maybe create a friend or something. But odds are that isn't going to happen. And there's someone in a different state, in a different country, in a different part of the hemisphere, in the world. We've worked with people all around the world, people in South America, people in Asia, the Philippines. We've worked with people in Europe. I remember literally talking to somebody in France and Italy within like 2 weeks of each other. And so literally so there's artists all around the world. And so don't think that, so the good conversation starter for you is, hey, where are you living? Like, that's a simple question. What's it like over there? Like, start building rapport when you get into the conversation, and you want to get them to put down their guard, because the sooner they can put down their guard and actually start engaging with you in an active conversation, the easier it becomes to build that rapport that's needed for them to move on to the next part, right? So you've spent time, you've built rapport with these people, you've asked them about their day, you've laughed a little bit. Odds are you're probably cracking a couple jokes. You're not in your one suit, you're in a t-shirt, probably like an anime t-shirt will be perfectly fine. In fact, that's a good conversation starter for people who like illustrations and love anime. Like, what's your favorite anime? Just take it as far off of an actual publishing conversation as you possibly can. And I know it's very counterproductive, but it's the best I can possibly give you to start building rapport. And then after that, you say, hey, so I'm really not structured in the way I host these meetings, to be honest. You can probably tell that by now. And at this point, they're probably like, yeah, because you're just having a conversation with them. It's a casual conversation. And then what you then ask them, you say, okay, so I'm going to open the floor to any and all conversations and any and all questions. And my job is just to try the best to answer them and let the questions that they have spur on the conversation, if that kind of makes sense. So when they ask a question, you give an accurate answer to the best of your ability. Don't lie. Don't let them catch, oh gosh, please do not. If you do not know anything, do not lie. That is like the worst turnoff, because if they find out later down the line, that screws up your partnership with them and your potential partnership with other people in the future. So just be as honest as you can as possible. If you don't know the answer, if you have a publisher, be like, hey, I'll refer the question to my publisher because I just don't know. I'm not going to tell you the sky is orange when the sky is blue. It just doesn't make any sense. And if you don't, well, then say, I'll come back to you with the answer. You know, you want to frame it and be as honest and get them to know you and invest in you as possible. So you ask them questions. They ask you questions, you answer after you've built rapport. And at this point, they feel very, very comfortable. They've asked 1,000,001 questions, probably 1,000,000, and you've answered at least like 90% of them. Try to answer 90% of them. Because and before you get into a conversation, I don't really anticipate the answers, but there are certain questions that you just need to know off the top of your head. Like, for example, what are you looking like for a timeline on this project? What's the plot? Like, these are simple questions that you should know the answer to. And just like, and for most of them, these are simple questions that are going to be asked repeatedly. And if you've gone on several different calls with several different artists, you understand these questions come up like pretty often. And it's the same like 7 or 8 questions that they ask every single call. And you just need to know what the answers to these 7 or 8 questions are. And most of the time, you're going to be fine. So after you've answered their questions, the 1,000,002 questions, maybe 1,000,003. I keep increasing them because they probably ask more questions. Then you go into, hey, this is, after that, you probably go into like a contract thing where you show them, hey, this is what, this is the terms we'll be going by. And then you talk it over, you explain to them the contract, and you sign them. And at that point, you have they agree to it. So you have a word of mouth agreement, and then you send them over the actual contract. And once they sign it and send it back to you, then you have an artist who is now working with you as a full-time artist on your manga. And not only are they interested in working with you because they're invested in you, they're interested in working with you not for the profit, although the profit is going to be there if your manga succeeds, but on the project. And that's where they put in a lot of the effort. They developed and invested into the project, and they invested into you as a person. And that's kind of how you go about acquiring an artist on call.